is going down, sourdough squad? How are you guys doing today on this Tuesday that we have here in front of us? I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. Uh, we're here to talk a little bit about Kyle Shanahan. Where is he ranked amongst the NFL top play callers in the NFL? Obviously, this conversation has been sparked by our friends over there at Pro Football Focus with one of their most recent rankings. It's a bit of a head scratcher. So I figured what we could do is we could kind of hop into it, discuss it a little bit, try to place where we think Kyle Shanahan is amongst the NFL greats, at least as of the current play callers that are in the league, and just kind of go back and forth and see what we think about that and see where we think they land. We did a poll on YouTube, so we can take a quick look at that to kind of see where some of the votes are coming in. Let's go here. So you can kind of see based on the way we've polled YouTube so far, almost 9,000 votes. We just asked who's the best play caller in the NFL. Of course, we're asking a lot of 49er fans, so it's going to be a little bit biased, and you can see Kyle Shanahan is running away with it. But I am interested to see what you guys think, where you think Kyle Shanahan ranks in regards to play calling, because this did all stem from a post that came from PFF, and I wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts, and we can get into it here. Let me pull up. Here we go. So this is the original list that we got per PFF's Eric Ager. Best offensive play callers in the NFL is number 1, Andy Reid. Number 2, Kellen Moore. Number 3, Byron Leftwich. Number 4, Kyle Shanahan. Number 5, Sean McVay. And number 6, Matt LaFleur. Obviously, this particular list has caused a little bit of a stir amongst social media. But I just wanted to see what you guys think. I think the biggest thing that took 49er fans by surprise was seeing Kellen Moore at number 2, considering, the 49ers were able to beat the Dallas Cowboys and move on into the playoffs, and especially with one of the final play calls called by Kellen Moore, which was basically a quarterback draw up the middle, and all time expired, and that's all she wrote. The 49ers advanced on to the next round of the playoffs as a result. So I found that to be a bit interesting. But again, I think when we look at Andy Reid and his success and his consistency in the NFL, I don't think I feel okay with Andy Reid being number 1. He's won a Super Bowl pretty recently, of course, with Patrick Mahomes in his second stop with the Chiefs. Obviously, almost did it with the Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't mind Andy Reid being number 1. I think where at least 49er fans had most of the issues were with number 2 and number 3. I thought it was funny, though, when watching and looking kind of at some of the responses that were given about this particular list. Not a lot of people agreed with the number 2 Kellen Moore ranking, including Cowboys fans. So I found that to be pretty interesting that pretty much Cowboys fans were saying that this list is just not right. It's not accurate. Kellen Moore is way too high, does not deserve to be that high up on the list. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? We got JM in here saying you can't be the best if you don't got the Lombardi to back it. Respectfully, he's top 5, but won't crack top 3 without actually winning it all. And I think that's a solid comment. I mean, we understand, hey, Kyle Shanahan's been to the mountaintop twice, but he's never been able to actually come down the other side of it. He's been to Super Bowl with with the 49ers on the brink of another one. Obviously last year he went to the Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons. Looked like they were going to win that particular game and come away with it, but of course Tom Brady occurred and Tom Brady happened and kind of took that Super Bowl win away from Kyle Shanahan. So totally understand that. I felt like Sean McVay being 5 was a little bit low. Obviously 49er fans, we don't love the Rams, We don't really love the Rams, but we I think we can put some respect on Sean McVay and what he's been able to do, not only as a head coach, but as an offensive play caller. Um, what he's been able to do, not only with Jared Goff, but then how he was able to transition to Matt Stafford. And the way he fits pieces into his offense, what his offense looked like with Todd Gurley, then how he had to kind of transition it to a more pass heavy offense. So you've seen Sean McVay be able to do it quite a bit, and do it a bunch of different ways. So uh, I think Sean McVay is a little bit low on this list. Matt LaFleur. Now, Matt LaFleur's had, two-time reigning MVP as his quarterback. Uh, but hey, they put up good numbers under Matt LaFleur, good offense, especially with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. But hey, maybe Matt LaFleur at 6 is not too bad. Quickly, got to shout out the SDS. Appreciate all the SDS in here. Sup, Cap? What's good, Paul? Appreciate you checking in. And this is a good point. Eric Bieniemy, from my understanding, calls plays, but I think they are looking at the overall offensive philosophy that Andy Reid has. Obviously, he's an offensive coach. That's where he's done it before. So could be just, he's part of the tree, I guess you would say. But because I think we could also kind of look at Kyle Shanahan a little bit, and I think, Mike McDaniel had a lot of say in that particular offense last year and what the 49ers are able to do down the stretch. So could look at that as well. But I think overall, I don't mind Andy Reid. I think if it were up to me, I still think Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius in regards to the way he schemes it up, because he is constantly manipulating. And we'll pull some plays and we'll look at some stuff a little bit, because I do want to just watch some football. It's been a while. But I would probably have this ranked, if I just had to take these 6 names right here and just kind of rank them what I thought they should be. I think it would be Andy Reid. I'd keep Andy Reid at 1. I'd be okay with that. I'd move Kyle Shanahan up to 2. I'd have Sean McVay 3. Probably, if you're not a 49er fan, you could potentially rank Sean McVay ahead. Just, hey, he's fresh off a Super Bowl win. That means a lot. So, but I am biased, so I will stick to my biases and go Andy Reid 1, Kyle Shanahan 2, Sean McVay 3. Byron Leftwich, that one's hard to discern, because how much of that influence was actually Bruce Arians? Bruce Arians is a phenomenal coach. Kind of back to this thought right here from Brian about, I thought Eric Bieniemy called the plays for the Chiefs. Well, how much of Bruce Arians' influence over the Tampa Bay Bucks offense did he call the plays? Was it Byron? I don't know enough. It could have been very well Byron that called the plays. But there is a big Bruce Arians influence there. And of course, as Brian points out, Tom Brady does exist and has quite a bit of knowledge. I like this point by Gmo, though, because Kyle doesn't have Mahomes. If you look at a lot of the guys on the list, all right, Andy Reid has who? Patrick Mahomes. Kellen Moore has Dak Prescott. Byron Leftwich has Tom Brady. Sean McVay has Matthew Stafford, and Matt LaFleur has Aaron Rodgers. And then there's Kyle Shanahan with Jimmy Garoppolo. So not all these names are created equal, I would say, in regards to the talent that they had at quarterback. But I also think you can make a point to why that makes Kyle Shanahan what he does pretty special as well, because he does a lot of it through the run game. It feels like a lot of these teams that we're looking at right here have been very successful through the air, where I think Kyle's had to do it a little bit differently by being able to be successful on the ground, all the stuff he does with pre-snap motion, all the play design, all the window dressing that he puts onto his plays are for a very specific reason. But anyways, I think I would probably put Kellen. I like Kellen, and I'll be honest, back when Kellen was at Boise State, I like Kellen Moore a lot. There's no ill will against Kellen Moore. I just don't know if I've seen enough from Kellen Moore to be able to put him up here. Same with Byron. So just found it to be interesting list up until this point. Um, and the way it all kind of shook out. I, you know, obviously peak off season right now. Uh, I wanted to pull up some of the window dressings and maybe some of the things that Kyle does in the run game so we can just kind of take a look at some of the specifics basically involved. Let me get this going here. Let's get this rolling. What is this saying to me? See, the browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different. What the hell, man? All right, hold on one second here. Of course, this is going to happen to me today. Not a big shocker here. Let's see. Try it one more time. Of course. Won't let me share my screen. Damn it. All right. Well, we'll keep it rolling. This might be a short episode today. Especially if I can't share my screen, which it doesn't seem to want to be letting me to do. But anyways, I think this year is going to be a big year for Kyle Shanahan because I think he's going to have to evolve more so than he has in the past. I think with his new staff that he has around him, he's got to do things a little bit differently. He doesn't have Mike McDaniel to rely on, who's been with Kyle for I think 15 years, almost through his entire journey. Mike McDaniel has been with Kyle, and this is going to be the first year without him. Based on the way Kyle's talked about him, he did a lot of stuff for the team behind the scenes. I think Kyle's going to have to take on a lot of that ownership. Obviously, you've got Brian Greasy. Chris Forster takes over as a run game coordinator. You got a new wide receiver coach, new tight end coach, new running back coach, and Anthony Lynn. Lots of changes, I think, coming to the 49ers offense. Not from a grand scheme of things, but I think a lot of very small nuanced things could be changing. So this year, more than any other year, I think we're going to see Kyle Shanahan kind of have to get into his bag a little bit more than he has in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of it, but I do imagine a lot will still remain the same in regards to overall philosophy. I think the 49ers will absolutely continue to stick to the run game. I don't think they're going to get away from the run, especially just because Kyle Shanahan. All right, what is going on here? Ooh, all right, this is a little different. So I got it up here, but it's in a little bit of a different format, but we'll try it out anyways. So I did want to pull up some tape just to have some fun. Um, this game was fun to watch for a lot of different reasons. I was having some fun when I was in the hospital, just watching some tape, kind of helping me relax a little bit, kind of wind down. And this was a fun game to watch because again, part of the reasons and things that we're talking about are, the way Kyle schemes things up. Let me see what we can get here. We're just kind of shooting in the dark right now, but you can see all the window dressing here on this particular play. It looks like you're going to get a fake handoff to Debo. You're getting Warner pulling across the formation. Warner absolutely obliterates. I think that's Randy Gregory. Watch Warner here. Watch number 89 come across the formation and just obliterate number 94. Bang. Put him to his knees. Nice block, Charlie. Great block by Charlie Warner. But a lot of the things that, we talk about Kyle Shanahan being a great play caller, play designer, those types of things. This is a great example of just everything that goes into a play. Like you get Debo Samuel, who's originally flexed out as a wide receiver. They motion him to flank Jimmy Garoppolo on the right. Then you have two essentially actions. You have Debo going this way. You have Warner going this way. It could be essentially a counter run to the left if they really wanted to, but you can just kind of see all the stuff that goes into it. Kyle really was in his bag, uh, especially towards the end of the year with the run game. The way everything was clicking, everything was coming together. It was really nice. I get a little end around from Brandon Ayuk. We didn't see a whole lot of end arounds last year. Didn't see a whole lot of end arounds last year. Uh, of course, we remember when Kyle seemingly took over the league in 2019 when he's running end arounds with Debo Samuel nonstop. But if you really watch the way Kyle does things, who is that? Parsons? I think Parsons got Ayuk here. Let's take a look. Is that Ayuk or Sure? I think it's Sherfield actually. Sherfield. I mean, that's hard. That's hard to ask Sherfield to block Micah Parsons right there. But anyways, man. We didn't get a whole lot of end arounds last year. It's going to be interesting to see how the offense continues to evolve. If they're going to be running more out of shotgun formations, they're going to get more into the old school power kind of ISO formations. Obviously, they love running with use check. You can see them flanked to the right of Garoppolo in shotgun. But it'd be interesting to see if they have more, standard kind of power formations with kind of the change of feel that feels like it's coming. Again, like this is what I'm talking about, like more just kind of straight up old school ISO. Why'd this play not work? Is that Micah Parsons again? Let's see what happened here. Let's see. There it is. So we got Charlie Warner. So this is a hard block. I mean, Charlie Warner's got to come. Essentially, they got a double 92, allow Trent Williams to take over, get to Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons just slips the block, gets under Charlie Warner, breaks it up. If he's able to get that block, though, if Charlie Warner can get this block right here, on Micah Parsons, that lane is pretty big. And then at that point, all Elijah would have all this room to work with. But I get it. Micah Parsons is he's a good young player. We like to roast him as much as we can. But hey, he was a good young player. Bullied get bullied though. You know the vibes. There goes Micah again. He's fast. Let's be honest. He's fast. Diagnosed it quick. And then hit it. Ooh, someone got ragdolled though. Let's see. I think. Ooh, look at Elijah. Elijah got a little pancake. 93. Watch Elijah get him on the ground. There you go. George Kittle blocking 40 people per usual. Got Leighton goes to 18. Not bad. Oh, this was a fantastic catch by Brandon Ayuk. The strength needed to make this happen. Great catch, able to come back, reach for the first down. That was a big play in the game. That was one where we had to have it. Kind of outside of field goal range. Believe it, yep, 3rd down and 10 essentially. Kind of a broken play. Whips it in there. Great catch by Brandon. I think we all agree Brandon Ayuk's going to have a pretty decent year this year. I think we can all agree Brandon Ayuk's going to have a nice year. It's going to be a good time. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the pass game evolves next year because I think they're going to be able to challenge defenses a lot differently. I think they'll be able to maintain a lot of the same, base running philosophies, all the pre-snap motion that they do. Again, you see Juice shifting all over the place. There's 2 shifts by Juice. Good block by Juice on Parsons. But I'm very interested to see how the passing game evolves with Trey Lance and his ability to kind of put the ball wherever he wants to. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know if we're going to see much of this. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of Deebo Samuel running in between the tackles. I don't know. I don't know if Deebo is going to want to endure that type of punishment that you get running in between the tackles in the NFL. I think that's why the 49ers drafted TDP. Hey, maybe a little Jordan Mason hive. A little bit more Brandon Ayuk. Man, I just think Brandon Ayuk's going to go crazy this year. I think Brandon Ayuk's going to go crazy. Love this adjustment by Ayuk. Cooks Diggs, cooks Leighton Vander Esch, lowers the shoulder. I think Brandon's got a lot to prove. This is a down year for Brandon in the grand scheme of things. So I think Brandon, he's got a little mini revenge tour going. He's got some stuff to prove. He definitely started to pick it up in the playoffs. Obviously, towards the second half of the year, Brandon Ayuk really came on strong. And I think he has a quarterback now that will actually try to give him the ball a little bit more. JaMychal Hasty, gonna be interesting to see if he's able to maintain a roster spot this year. Again, they love using him in this kind of third down role. Rare pass to Kyle Juszczyk out the slot. You basically get George Kittle clearing it out. They bring Juice underneath. Justin says, "Do you think we see a lot more Kittle as a pass catcher?" I would imagine. I would imagine the whole pass game takes a bump up. I think one of the things that we have to kind of be prepared for is maybe a couple errant throws here or there from Trey Lance. You know, he's still working through his mechanics, still getting that kind of comfortability with his accuracy. I think that's okay. I don't think he's got to be perfect, but again, like I think teams are going to be selling out to stop the run, but I think unlike last year where the 49ers would just run into defenses that were trying to stop the run essentially, I think they're going to have a lot more options to open it up. Um, and if they really get into the RPO game, I think Kittle can absolutely be a benefit there, especially on like slants where he can make it look like he's blocking potentially and basically leak out. But I think the biggest thing with Trey Lance too is I think he's just going to be able to spread the ball around, and guys like Kittle will be able to get more opportunities as well. I mean, we saw some of the opportunities that Kittle was able to get against the Texans. Um, if the 49ers are if Brandon Ayuk becomes a true deep threat because defenses are now concerned about the 49ers pushing the ball deep, then that allows more, I think, more opportunity for Kittle to work in the short to intermediate where it's naturally clogged. You know what I mean? Like when Jimmy Garoppolo was, running the show, these defenses knew what the 49ers are trying to do. They're trying to go short to intermediate in the middle of the field. That clogs things up for Kittle. And they started using Kittle kind of as a decoy. Like we just saw it just there a couple plays ago with Kyle Juszczyk. They used Kittle to be the clear out route, and they brought in Juice right off his hip. But I would imagine if they're running their guys more traditionally, Ayuk the deep threat, Debo out the slot, George being George going and doing all kinds of things, Juwan Jennings being, the stick guy. I think roles will be a lot more defined this year. Which then could benefit definitely guys like George Kittle. Ooh, yuck. I think that the offense is going to look so much different. Like if we just use this for example, like obviously Trey Lance is going to be able to scramble outside the pocket, but these are the types of throws that Trey Lance seems to be pretty accurate on because there's a lot of feel here. And when this occurs, Trey Lance is able to kind of kick in his elite athletic traits and be able to throw on the run, throw on the move, throw off his back foot. I think when Trey Lance is kind of feeling himself and just kind of not thinking too much and just able to play, that's when he's the most accurate. Juwan Jennings breakout season. Probably incoming. He's a beast. Juwan Jennings is a dog. That was a nasty play action. Almost intercepted, though. Nasty. Look at how hard they bit on the run. Oh, look at that sell. Like, so this is when we talk about play Kyle Shanahan, the play designer. I mean, to get a defense to bite like this, look at the defense. Everyone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bodies flowing to the right. Just bit. Almost picked, though. Almost picked, though. Wasn't a great. I mean, at that rate, you might just want to dump it off to Kyle. Just get a couple yards. Whew, almost a pick. Let's see what else we got. Oh, they loved using Jeff Wilson in this, like, so when I've talked about this before, like the way that they used Jeff Wilson in pre-snap motion, and they kind of used him as a fullback. Essentially, they used him as a lead blocker. You can see Jeff Wilson. You could see Debo bails pretty quickly. It does appear to be a designed run to the left. Oh no, it's designed counter. So this is, again, let's break this down. We talk about play calling, play design. What do we start with? We start with trips left, bunch formation. In that bunch formation, you have Juwan Jennings, you have George Kittle, you have Jeff Wilson. So in that little trips bunch formation, you have a tight end, wide receiver, and a running back. Definitely an interesting grouping. But let's look at the pre-snap motion. Oh, not to mention Debo Samuel, wide receiver, lined up as a running back. So the running back is lined up as a wide receiver. The wide receiver is lined up as a running back. Confusing? I'm confused just saying it. Now we're going to get a pre-snap motion. We get Jeff Wilson. Jeff taps his butt. All right, I'm going back, because they're setting up what appears to be an outside zone run to the left. But as you have Jeff Wilson, which appears to be a lead blocker, aiming for Diggs, you actually have Kittle coming across formation. You see Kittle coming across formation. This is a pitch. So it's essentially a supposed to be designed and drawn up to be a pitch left. It's supposed to look like a pitch left. See the pitch? But it's actually like a counter. This is the Kyle Shanahan scheme stuff that's crazy. Like when it comes to the complexity and like how creative he can get, because again, it's just crazy from the jump. Crazy from the jump. It's the pitch, it's the trips left bunch, Jeff Wilson in motion, counter right, like it's crazy. Like it's beautiful. Like this is art. The the types of things that this can do to a defense, again, look at the way they're selling out, but this is a run. They're selling out to our right here. If you look at the offensive line, they're selling out to the right. You see that? Selling, because they want it to look like that. But in all reality, it's a counter. Look at Kittle. There's Kittle right there. Look at Brandon Ayuk. Look at his body formation, or the way he got to his spot. sets up the block. I mean, we talk about Kyle Shanahan, the play designer. This is a great example of just beautiful play design, elite play design, watching it all work together and the way it looks like 4 different things. You could literally run like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably you probably run like 20 variations, not only off the formation, off the pre-snap. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it works perfectly. They get them to sell to the left. They bite on Jeff Wilson being the lead blocker because this is how he's made it look previously. See how they all slant left? This is play design. This is play calling. This is, when we talk about Kyle Shanahan and we talk about him scheming up against defenses, they're all slanting towards Jeff Wilson's side because that's what Kyle has made it look like with previous plays. And he sets it up so he knows they're going to be going that direction and then he counters off of it. This is a pitch. It's like a counter pitch. It's crazy. It's beautiful. Beautiful mind. And there's so many moving pieces to this. Like it's wild. Wild stuff. I don't know what that was. Oh, was this the one where Juwan? Is this the one where Juwan rocked Trayvon? Oh, it is. Yes, it is. All right. Look at this is one of my favorite sequences from the year. You got Juwan Trayvon, you see Juwan come back, rock Trayvon right there. See that? Let's see if we get the other angle too. Look at Diggs in his ear. Let me see if I get another shot of that. See that? See Trayvon Diggs, number 7, got his whole mouthpiece up in Juwan Jennings' ear. He did not like getting decleated. Let's watch it. Let's see if we get a decleat on this angle. Nah, we missed it. But the reason why I love that, not just for that particular play. Let's watch the next play. Let's watch this next play and watch how Trayvon Diggs reacts to Juwan Jennings after the play. Look at that. Oh, right in his face. Look at that. They had to pull Trayvon Diggs off Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings just like, whatever, man. But I felt like there's a series of plays here where you can see Trayvon Diggs is legit mad at Juwan Jennings for decleating him, but I love it. It's a game within the game. Got to get them emotional. Got to get them off their spot a little bit. Oh, and this is the legendary Debo play. The legendary Debo play where George Kittle doesn't get enough credit for his block. Watch George Kittle. Oh, I've broken this one down many times before, but I want to do it again. What I love about this block from George Kittle is you get the step to the inside. It's almost like a fake out step. So you get the step to the inside. Then you get him to hook 93. See that leverage? Completely whooped him. Then walls off 93 into these 3 guys. As a result of walling 93 off into those 3 guys, creates a natural lane because Micah Parsons isn't able to flow through. And then you get this. Deebo Samuel does the rest. But this is one of my favorite plays from George Kittle on the year. The complexity into the technique, the jab step inside, to then being able to reach and then leverage 93 onto the ground, but not only that, but getting in the way of Micah Parsons, because if Micah Parsons can flow through this, if he could flow through that and not get caught up by George Kittle and his guy, that's a tackle right here. This play doesn't exist without George doing George things. And of course, Trent Williams trying his hardest to keep Micah from coming across. It's a great play, though. Great pull by Brunskill. Love it. Got to love it. Ooh. Let's see what else we got. A couple more plays. Ooh. Ooh. Gross. I know we remember this play. Brian says, any critiques? This would have been the game sealer. Brandon Ayuk absolutely whoops Diggs. Bit of an overthrow. Oof. That one stinked. That would have been the Ayuk's highlight of the entire year. That would have been the one. That would have been the one. Let's see what we get here. There's Kittle. See, this is how I kind of picture. I think Justin asked earlier about, is Kittle going to have a little bit more go, in the run game? This is kind of, or in the pass game. Like, this is kind of, I mean, you have Debo in the backfield at this point, but again, you see Brandon Ayuk, they use him as the clear out. They keep Jeff Wilson to keep number 26 out in the flats. So they're able to open up this entire space, and they just have Kittle come underneath. I think, again, Trey Lance's threat to throw downfield is going to keep teams more honest on, Brandon Ayuk's clear out routes right here. Again, I think Brandon cooked Trayvon off the line too. Oh, he did. Look at Ayuk at the top of the screen. Just the little stutter release to the outside gets Trayvon to completely turn around. Completely turns Trayvon Diggs around with the little stutter release to the outside. Dude, look at Ayuk moves, man. Moves. But I really hope we get more Kittle involved. He deserves to get more involved. He's too valuable. He's too valuable not to get him involved. There's that counter pitch again. We broke this one down. It's that same concept with Jeff Wilson. Looks like it's going to be a pitch to the right, but it's effectively a counter left. You get a great block by George. Again, what if Jeff Wilson was Poe? What if they put Poe 6'1", 300 pounds in this Jeff Wilson role? This is what I talk about when I envisioned putting Poe, who moves pretty well, in this kind of Jeff Wilson pre-snap motion role because they use Wilson as a puller so much. Like, what if you were pulling Jason Poe at 300 pounds, moving pretty quick and just rocking people? Some more play design, getting the Brandon Ayuk motion, holds the defensive end just enough to allow Brunskill to pull, get a piece. You get Kyle Juszczyk. Yeah, dude. It's like you get Ayuk pulling, you get essentially Kyle Juszczyk pulling, you get Brunskill pulling. And then you let Debo work. Ayuk is effectively a decoy to kind of hold 94 for a step. Brunskill gets enough. Ooh. If Debo read this block, he might have got a little bit more. Oh, what's that little hit there, Randy? Watch Randy slap the back of Debo at the end. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see if Debo reads Juice's block correctly. So when you see this type of leverage from Juice head to the outside shoulder, that should be the indication from Debo to bounce outside. Because you got to read your blockers. And if that's the way Juice is, again, you got to follow Juice's head effectively. If Juice is putting his head on the right shoulder, then you run up the middle because that's what Juice is doing. It's a kick out block where now this right now is Juice trying to roll the block. So he's getting his head on the outside shoulder. And then, so see how Juice is spinning his hips. If Debo had a nice little shuffle to the left, look at the leverage from Warner on the outside. See that little crease, that hole right there? If Debo was able to pick up on that little timing. Oh, where'd it go? This little right here, he's able to get it to the outside and then cut step off Warner's block. Could have been even a bigger gain because look at this hole to the left. Like, see all this green space? That's the way it looks like it was designed. This is kind of the things that we talk about when, running in this scheme. The margin of error is very tiny. So you can see just by picking the wrong shoulder, not following your blocker properly, you basically run into a whole bunch of people. Oops. Could have been a little bit bigger of a gain. Let's see. There we go. Oh, geez. What is this? What is this? I remember. This is when it started to get a little sketch. We started to get a little nervous. We're like, wait, isn't this game in hand? Maybe not. I remember this. This is when we started to get a little sketched out. Oh, man. What a overthrow. I think this is the part of, Jimmy Garoppolo where a lot of fans have a hard time with. We know the players love Jimmy, and I know why the players love Jimmy. I think Jimmy does a lot of things really well. I think he's really good. Short to intermediate. He's really good at tight window throws, extremely quick release. He is accurate, like 10% that he's not accurate, that just kills the Niners. Like, so it's such a nuanced thing for Jimmy because he has skill and he's good, but then when he does this in a moment where the 49ers are trying to close out a playoff game and you give Dallas a shot to come back in it, this is where fans can't deal with it. Like, this is where, we're not the average fan, we're not breaking down tape like this. The average fan is watching on Sundays, screaming at their TV. They're not concerned about pre-snap motion. They're not concerned about leverage that's being played. Did they get their shoulder on the right side, their head on the right side? Uh, they just see this. They just see an overthrow in a must win game, in a part of a game where you gotta have it. And this is, I think, why fans just get so upset with Jimmy and are just kind of honestly just over. Uh, because the things that he does 90% of the time really well can get mitigated by these types of throws. Where, again, I think, we get it. He's on the run, but he's not in an immediate threat to get sacked. He has a wide open receiver. He has the space to the sideline. Like, you see all the green around Sherfield and just sails it on him and throws like that's tough. That's tough. I think that's what fans have the hardest time with Jimmy is doesn't I know the players, they look at that 90% that he does well, but it's just though it's those types of plays that stick out to fans and just doesn't. Rohan says Jimmy slander not tolerated. Technically it's not slander, it's more critique, but I hear you. But man, that's why fans just, I think they're so ready for Trey Lance season to begin, is for those plays right there that we just watched. Like, come on, man. Like, I think we all look at that and we're like, man, kids in high school could probably hit a similar play like that. Again, you're kind of flushed out to your right. You're kind of moving in phase with the wide receiver. You don't have an immediate impact of getting sacked. You have time, you have some space, you have, area to the sideline to work, and it turns into an overthrow and a pick that ultimately could have hosed you. And again, this was at the part of the game too, where if I think, Jimmy hit Ayuk on that play where he cooked Diggs, it's they're not even still throwing. They're just running clock. So it got real dicey here at the end with some of the throws, some of the plays that we saw. But it's going to be a whole different can of worms now because it's a Trey Lance show. It's going to be very interesting to see the way Trey works from game to game. Definitely looking forward to seeing what that looks like. I think it's going to be a nice change. Like, again, plays like this, I think fans just have a hard time processing. A veteran quarterback, just skipping a ball in the dirt and getting his star tight end rocked for no reason. You know what I mean? So this isn't a Jimmy takedown by any means. We're going as the tape goes, but that's what the tape's going like right now. Kind of feels like Jimmy's collapsing on this part of the tape. Obviously, they were able to get the win, uh, but I think when people ask Kittle about like, man, can Kittle stay healthy? Can Kittle stay healthy? Like this combined with the shot to the back, like how does Kittle control that? Kittle's going to where the ball is being thrown. Ball's being thrown to the dirt. As a result, he's got to completely turn his body to try to make an athletic play, which gives up his back wide open to a defender. And again, a lot of people come after Kittle for not being healthy, but look at these situations that he's put in constantly, man. Shouldn't be in that position to begin with. Shouldn't be in that position to begin with. This feels like throws that should be made. Let's see what else happens. It really is the tape speaking for itself. We really aren't trying to go out of our way to take any. Oh my god, there was almost another interception. It's almost another interception. So like it's hard, man. Again, I know why the team loves him, but it's this 10%. I mean, that's a penalty though. So that's a penalty. We'll give him that. But still behind. Kind of got bailed out by the penalty, to be honest. It is a bit behind. Oh, where'd it go? Did I lose it? This one. So, again, Jimmy played well the first portion of the game. And as we've kind of seen, this is the fourth quarter. So the fourth quarter, ever since the fourth quarter started, we got the interception, we got the missed throw from Ayuk. That throw is a little behind. We got the throw in the dirt to Kittle. So, yeah. Uh, I would say a little bit of both. I mean, I feel like the the Dallas Cowboys defense did a really good job of kind of sniffing this one out. Because you can kind of see here, because he was asking, is this bad play call or bad execution? They kind of sniffed it out. Let's get a better look at it. If we get the ball out a little faster, see how it's lobbed? If Jimmy can snap around, right? Because we're gonna get the play action fake. So we got a play action fake. This you can see the hole. It looks like they're playing cover 2 because you got Trayvon Diggs at the top of the screen, kind of in press on Ayuk, but he lets Ayuk go. So that would tell me this is cover 2 because he knows he has safety help over the top. Trayvon identifies Kittle, but look at this relationship right here. You have Kittle effectively open. You have Jimmy staring him down. Watch how long it takes the ball to arrive. Like, if there's one thing that we know about Jimmy is he actually has a nice whip on him. Like, he can whip that thing in there. Why this one is like a lob duck, I don't know. Because if he flips his head around right here, snaps it, and rips it, and gets that ball and just bangs it on Kittle, maybe about right here, if the ball is already on Kittle and on the back shoulder, then we're happy because now Kittle has room to work. He's got room to turn his head upfield. He's got room to be the yak guy that he is. But the poor velocity on the throw, which again it hits the turf. So I don't think this one actually even counted. But yeah, this just looks like a poor throw. I think the execution actually was pretty good. I think Trayvon Diggs does a good job of bailing out, but ultimately the process took too long. Ultimately, the process took too long. You got to get this ball on him. You got to bang it on him. It cannot float and drift like that because Trayvon Diggs identified ball's got to be on its way. If you want this layup, you got to get it in there. Got to get it in there quicker than that. So I think the play was there, okay? Because they weren't going for a big shot. They weren't going for a big shot. They were going for, an extension of the run game. This was this is supposed to be a layup. This is supposed to be one of those ones where Kyle says, this is a 5 to 7 yarder, like automatic. Like this is where he's like in the huddle, like, all right, we need about 5-7 yards. All right, this is automatic. This should be automatic 5 to 7 yards. Like, look at this. You get George Kittle the football here. You got 26 and Trayvon Diggs on him. That's George Kittle. George Kittle is not going to get taken down by one defensive back. Arguably, two aren't going to get the job done. So I think this is part of the design. This isn't designed to be a big hitter. It's designed to be effectively an extension of the run game. It's a quick pass off of play action. And if you can just get the ball to the spot where it needs to be with velocity and you give, like, I'm okay with the back shoulder concept of it to get Kittle to turn away from Diggs, but there's got to be more velocity, in my opinion, here. There's got to be more sense of urgency to get that ball out, get it on Kittle so that he can have time to catch it and make a play after the catch because again, he broke Diggs. He still broke Diggs' tackle after Diggs had a free shot at his back. He still broke that tackle from Diggs. Look, Diggs is on the ground. So I think back to the question from Jacob, is that Kittle play a bad play call? No, I don't think it's a bad play call. I think they got exactly what they were looking for. I think they knew that they were working against a cover 2 scheme. They knew Ayuk was going to have Diggs in conflict for at least a step or two. They knew they were going to be able to leak Kittle from the backside because it looks like play action, run to the right. You see the leak. I think this is what they wanted. So I'm not going to call this bad play call, but I will call it maybe bad execution. Feel like you get that ball there sooner, Kittle makes a play instead of almost getting Kittle hurt and potential fumble. So that's why timing matters. Like a half a second is a long time in the NFL. Half a step is a long time. Half a step is all it takes in the NFL. If you're off a half a step, you're off half a gap. That's it. It's all they need. It's all the leverage. It's all the timing that they need. And this is when it was getting a little sketch, right? This is when the momentum started to slip away from us. This is when we thought we were cruising. And then it started oh, started to stack on us. Started to stack. Let's see. Why didn't this play work? Oh, I see why. We got a breakdown on the backside. All right. So this relation. So Alex Mack, number 50, Daniel Brunskill, 60, are supposed to be doubling to backer. So we've talked about this drill before when we've broken down, some of the individual drills from 49ers practice. This is kind of what they're doing. This is a double to backer concept. What Alex Mack is trying to do is he's trying to reach and be able to help enough for Brunskill to take over the block. And then Brunskill is theoretically, depending on where the linebacker flows, but they're trying to set it up so Brunskill can take over this block. Alex Mack peels to get the linebacker flowing over the top. The problem is linebacker didn't flow over the top. So they kind of prematurely, Alex Mack, that is, disengaged with the block in front of him because Alex Mack is moving towards it's like he's assuming that Parsons is going to flow over the top into that open area, but he doesn't. So Brunskill does the correct thing. Brunskill comes off the block to get Parsons. So you see how Brunskill comes off to get Parsons, but because Alex Mack was already peeling, he just let number 77 go. And basically 77 makes a tackle. So the teaching here is patience, especially with Alex. Gotta make sure that because you can see 11 is the linebacker that they're trying to get to, but it appears the safety creates conflict by walking it down into the box. And Alex Mack ultimately looks at the safety as the flowing linebacker and tries to peel to the safety, but that is not the right guy. So the teaching here is to make sure, again, heads up, you know who your keys are, what your keys are, who you're keying on. You keying on 97, you're keying on 11. You're not keying on 97 and the safety. So in all reality, what this would look like is Mac stays home on the defensive tackle instead of peeling, and Brunskill peels just like he did. So I would say Brunskill was right here. I would say Mac was wrong here because you can see Mac lets his guy go, gets a tackle. So those are some of the responsibilities that come along with, doubling. That's why it's got to be when we talk about offensive line play and we talk about working together, like these are the kinds of things that you have to be on the same page with. You have to know who's peeling. You have to know what those responsibilities are. You can see, look at Brunskill. He's pissed. Watch Brunskill. Look at Brunskill right at the end. Watch him throw his hand down. Watch. Come on, bro. He just told Mac, like, come on, dude. Tell him, Brunny. Tell him, Brunny. Look at Brunskill, man. Look at him get to second level. It's fantastic. Again, he might be, struggle at the point of attack sometimes, but this ability that he has, again, here we're gonna see the double. See, now this works out like they wanted it to work out, where Brunskills take over. This time it's Mac. The roles are reversed. So you get Mac to take over the block, you get Brunskill off to the second level, and you get the guys falling behind. But Micah Parsons, where did he come from? Micah Parsons is Lakin's guy. Lakin gets held. So this is again game within the game. Defensive tackle knows what's going on. He knows Lakin is trying to escape to backer, and he holds him. See this hold right here by the defensive tackle? Good job by that defensive tackle, because that stopped Lakin from getting to his spot and getting to Micah Parsons. And ultimately, Micah Parsons makes the tackle. If Lakin can get out free and get on Micah, this could be a potentially much bigger gain. Why do Niner fans want Brunskill on the bench for more? That's a great question. I literally have no idea. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't understand it. Because the tape would not indicate anything that would say that Moore should be over Brunskill. Considering too, he hasn't played guard. He's only played tackle. And if you go and watch Moore play tackle, it's a bit uninspiring. So I'm not sure why that is a thing. I know why it's a thing. People see Brunskill get, walked back in every so often, and that's how they evaluate him. But again, like I would venture a guess to say that based on all the tape that I've watched, I don't think Moore's getting to Leighton Vander Esch here like Brunskill just did. So we'll see. Because if you go back to week 10 against the Rams, Moore didn't have a great game. And then he had a worse game. He had a worse game against the Jags to the point where he got benched. So I don't know. I hope Moore bounces back. I hope Moore finds a home at the guard spot. I just don't look at that as a plus. I honestly look at that as a negative, because I think you guys remember we were breaking down the offensive line individual bag drills that I think Jack Hammer posted from OTAs with Moore at right guard, and he was struggling with this double to backer concept against bags. Like, he was struggling with this relation against bags, an individual drill. So he's playing a position that he's not familiar with. And I think there's going to be a learning curve in of itself going from tackle to guard. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that somehow a guy who's never really played guard before is going to unseat Brunskill going into his third year at the position, because he always does his job. He might get overpowered in certain instances, but he's reliable and he's always going to do his job. And he doesn't get enough credit for that, which is fine. But part of the reason why I could see why people would want that, and maybe advocate for that, like from a high level conceptual standpoint, but there's literally nothing Moore has proven to me on tape that would suggest that that's a good idea. So until the tape speaks to me otherwise, then I will continue to be a wait and see kind of a guy. Brunskill, let's see what Brunskill does here. All right, so you have a little bit of a conflict here with the puller. Wait, this isn't the play, is it? Oh, what is this? What is this? Let's take a look. You got Elijah Moore, not Elijah Moore, Elijah Mitchell pulling around the formation. You've got both guards pulling, Lakin pulling. So this is the hardest thing right here for offensive linemen when dealing with pullers. If so 97, if you get interior pressure when you're pulling, this is exactly what happens. Watch 97 hit Brunskill. So, Lilo, are you serious? Go. Sorry, my dog keeps coming in here. So you can see Trent Williams. We want Trent Williams to be able to block down viciously on 97 so there's no penetration. So you can kind of see it kind of actually looks like Trent steps the wrong way. Cuz Trent's first step here should be a vicious down step to the right to be able to wall off any initial penetration from 97. And kind of got himself out of position. So you can kind of see Trent kind of reaching for 97. That's not what you want. You want a vicious step down, head coming across to be able to wall off any penetration, because if you don't, that's what you get. You get the interior defensive lineman running into your puller, which is a recipe for disaster. But then you get Brunskill able to come off that. You have this is all kinds of messed up. You have Lakin doing a kick out block. And because he's doing a kick out, Debo should be running off his hip to the inside, but there's nothing there because Brunskill is literally right in front of him. Brunskill takes over Lakin's block. Yeah, this play is jacked. Easiest way to kill a play that involves pulling is interior pressure. So 97 kind of screws this up from the start. Yeah, he screwed that up big time. That play was doomed. But this is also, I think, the play where Debo kind of shoves Micah Parsons out the way as well. There's Micah, shoves him out the way. But not well blocked up front, if we're being honest. Kind of that immediate pressure kind of blew things up from the start. Let's see what we got here. This just looks like a zone. Yeah, this looks just like a zone. Zone left. See all the offensive linemen flowing together, everyone taking the same step. You get, looks like you get pretty much singled up with Lakin, singled up with Trent. You have Mac Brunskill working the double to backer concept. You can see there goes Mac. Brunskill takes over. Mac gets to second level. What? I want to see what Trent does here. That's not it. It's crazy how Trent, man, can just use someone's leverage against them. So Trent, obviously on the left side, engages with Randy Gregory. See him engage. So one of the things that Trent does really, really well is control the shoulders of opposing defenders. So he kind of grabs, like it's almost like he clamps down on the sides and he just drops them to the actually inside of the play, which see that yanked him, gets Randy Gregory on his butt. Trent's crazy, man. Crazy. Let's see. Who makes the play? Why do they make the play? That's a good stop by 97. All right. We're almost to the end here. Ooh. Brunskill felt that one. They were ready for it. Oh, Gregory came downhill. Tough. Watch the way Gregory was able to just come down and totally lay into Brunskill. Whew. That's just a good play by Gregory. Read it all the way, brought the punch to Brunskill. Looks like the whole defense was ready for that one. But this is pretty much the end. This is when this is a sexy play. Basically like an end around. That's crazy. It's like a play action end around. So you get pre-snap motion. Juice goes to the right side of the formation. You get the mesh point. So it's like a zone read. You get the mesh point from Jimmy and Mitchell. Then you flip it around to Debo like an end around. Perfectly sets up George Kittle as a lead blocker. You got Compton. Who's that? Lake and Tomlinson, 20 yards downfield. This is a sick play. That's a nice play. Well designed, well executed. I think this is a play that was able to ice things. 49ers advanced after this. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. This is the one where Debo barely got it. Barely got it. Just reached on over, got that first down. Ooh. I want to see more of this because I believe in this scenario, Trent Williams becomes. Oh, this is where we got the 49ers got called offsides here. I remember that. They got called offsides here because they didn't wait for. Oh, this is the one where Kyle got roasted on, I think. I think a lot of people roasted Kyle for this particular play because of the pre-snap motion. They hiked it before Trent was set, got the penalty. Instead of getting the first, they gave the ball back. Gave the ball back to Dallas. Dallas had an opportunity to tie it at the end. I remember a lot of people were upset about this play. I'm not mad at the play. The execution wasn't great. Anyways, that's it. It was fun to watch some tape. It's been a while. Appreciate you guys riding with me. It's been a long week. Been a long month for that matter. But it's fun to break down some tape, watch some football again. I'm excited for the season to get here. Excited to get into what this year's team is going to look like. I think, when we look at Alex Mack retiring, we look at Laken Tomlinson retiring, or not retiring, but going to the New York Jets. I think a lot of fans have concerns for the interior offensive line. But, to be honest, if I think if Aaron Banks can really come in and play similarly to Laken Tomlinson, then I think the 49ers are going to be in good shape. I really do. So obviously there's going to be time to be seen with that. But hey, we're going to find out. I think that's going to be obviously one of the biggest storylines of the entire year. So can't wait to get to training camp to see how it all plays out. But I think the 49ers are still going to be able to do a lot of the similar things that we saw with Alex Mack, with Laken Tomlinson. It's just going to be a little bit different. I think Brendel's capable of doing all the things that Mack is able to do. It's just going to be interesting to see with what consistency he's able to do it, how much power he's going to have. Just like Eric is saying, if Banks is serviceable, we're going to be okay. The 49ers, Kyle Shanahan does a really good job of because if you go back to that Jags game week 11, when they had Moore starting at right tackle, they protected the hell out of Moore. They did not run to his side. Everything was away. Everything was low risk in regards to because you can set up blocks where a specific offensive lineman is the point and he has to hold his block. And if he doesn't, then the whole play is destroyed. They didn't put Moore in that much of a responsibility. They took it's like they schemed up the responsibility away. So he was still being able to be effective in his role, but he wasn't like, all right, you got to hold this block on the defensive end for 3 seconds because we're going to try to get it on the outside of you. You got to reach this and we're going to run it right off your hip. They didn't do a whole lot of that. So they can do similar things with the interior. Obviously, they're going to be and the 49ers have been known to be an outside zone team who typically try to win on the edges, but I think they are going to try to be a little bit more specific on winning on the interior this year. I think, drafting guys like TDP, maybe Jordan Mason comes into the mix for more of a downhill type of offense. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. But I'm pretty excited for what's to come. Obviously, can't wait. Can't wait to see what it looks like. Lots of new variables added to the offense. It's going to be interesting to see. But I imagine we're going to break down a lot more tape as the offseason continues and just kind of work our way through it and see what we like, see what we don't like, and see how it's going to translate on to the new offense. But again, shout out to everyone for tapping in. Appreciate all the SDS vibing with me. And we'll keep coming back with more content. So I appreciate you guys. And the off season continues. Until next time, I'm out of here.